Hello, friends. It is day 22 of the 24 videos in 24 days. And today we'll be discussing the Florida Project. And today I'm with Chad Lutzke. Chad, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. As you know, love to talk movies.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
especially A24 movies or independent films, period. And this is one of my favorites.
Well, this is one I heard a little bit about, but then you had recommended it and things worked out to where move some things around to squeeze it in. And
Uh-huh.
I'm so glad you did.
Hmm.
It is, when it first starts, you kind of wonder when things are going to, like, you wait for an event or something. You start wondering, well, what something may happen but it's just like
Like, where's the plot?
yeah. But
Hmm.
by the end of it, I was like, I what didn't want it to end.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just slice of life.
Mhm.
You're watching these people live their lives, and I love stuff like that. I love books like that. I don't I find more entertainment out of that than something with like a heavy plot. I don't know why. I just do. You're kind of watching vicariously or living vicariously through them as you watch.
Mm. So, what is it about the Florida Project that really draws you to it? What makes it one of your favorites?
Um, well, the acting is I don't even the acting is phenomenal. If you even want to call it acting, it's almost like just everything. Like you're just I feel like they ran a camera for a week and we were just like just do your thing, especially the kids.
Yeah.
you know, and then we'll just painstakingly go through the 2,000 hours of footage that we have and then splice stuff together. Um, yeah, I don't understand why some directors can't get some people to act
Mhm.
and then they'll just settle for certain things. And then you can get somebody like this. Most of the people in here uh, were not actors at all. Had never been in a movie before. Um, the, the woman, the heck is her name? Haley.
Mhm.
She was just the director found her on Instagram,
Oh.
and then the and then the little girl, and then Scooter, what the little Mexican kid, the
Mhm.
boy, he lived on some strip in a motel with his mom,
Mm.
and so they just grabbed him, and then the little girl, Mooney, I think she had done something when she was even younger, like a couple years younger.
Mm.
But I don't remember what it was. But yeah, I mean, she stole like every scene. I mean, all of their dialogue was so authentic. They would say the most random stuff, and their mannerisms. None of it was like, none of it felt like fake. It felt all very organic. Um,
Felt like
and
a documentary more than a movie.
yeah,
Like you said, like it just seemed like a good reality TV show. I don't know if there's such a thing, but it felt like you said, like they were just following these people around with the camera and
hmm
just live your life. That's kind of the way it felt. And there was like one or two times when it felt like some of the lines were a little, but for um for everyone being really inexperienced, well, except for Defoe, but I mean, I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was great.
yeah.
Had a great time.
Just the dialogue, you could tell the dialogue was not really I don't think it was written for the kids. I think they were just
Mm.
like some of the stuff that they would say like, "Come on, hurry up, loser. Don't call me that, but okay." You know? Like s they're just yeah, it just felt so natural, and, everyone was great. And Willem Dafoe, man, I love that character. I love that guy. He just was like somebody that you would love to have working for you or that you would like to know or that if you lived there you would be honored to have him be your like manager. He really cared.
Yeah, and he even tried to get her a deal at the other.
Yeah.
So he tried to work out a deal. Even though he didn't want her there, or he wanted her to not establish residence, he still wanted to help her with the next
Yeah.
place she went.
Yep. Yeah, which I don't know how that works out. I don't know if uh that was weird. You know, like it was like a community of motels.
Yeah.
And I was confused too about like you can't live there. You can only stay there for like a couple weeks, and then you've got to bail for a day, and then you can come back and do it. Is that because some of these people, I mean, their hotel rooms or whatever, motel rooms were like decked out. They were
Mm.
fully decorated. They had knickknacks and crap. And if that's the case, how do you do that? You just redo everything?
I think it was like a legal thing. Probably after so many days, then you can say, "Oh, well, I live here. This is my home because I lived here for 30 days straight or whatever." So
Mhm.
they probably have to break it up to say, no, they moved out for a day, then they came back. So maybe it gives them some kind of maybe like squatters rights or something if they had to evict them, or they have to give them notice or something like that. I'm
Mhm.
assuming, but I'm not too sure.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's the only thing I wasn't really real sure on. Um, I actually, but you like the movie, right?
I loved it. Yeah, I watched it
Yeah.
last night. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, this is I watched it today. I saw it maybe 3 years ago, I think. I can't remember when the movie came out, 2017.
I think so. Yeah, 2017.
All right, so I watched it 3 or 4 years ago, I think. And then I watched half of it like last year, I think, and then I don't know why I didn't finish it. And then and I had actually forgotten about the end. Um, and dude, I teared up pretty good
Mm.
when
Yeah,
when that little girl, man, yeah, she broke my heart.
yeah. It was something. Like you said, the kids especially. I kind of imagine the kids just like you said, just ad libbed a lot, and just
Hmm.
I think they probably just followed them around,
Yeah,
and just kind of said, "Go get ice cream," or whatever. It kind of that felt really authentic. It didn't feel like they were told or given dialogue. It just felt like they were just being kids.
yeah. I think yeah, and they were probably like, talk, like if there was something that was important, like mention this or talk about this at some
Mhm.
point, or make a game out of spitting on this car,
Right. Yeah.
or maybe they established a game because they talked about points. Like I have more. Well, I have 100 points,
Mhm.
and it's just totally stuff that kids would say, stuff like that, lying and trying to outdo each other, and
Mm.
um, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. I don't know a whole lot of too many people that have seen it.
Mm.
I know my friend Hunter Shea has. He loves it, but so far I haven't heard of anyone who doesn't like it.
Hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't know. Everyone, I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm surprised it doesn't get more attention. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Haley, especially. That character. She's sympathy. I felt sympathy for it because she's just trying to survive.
Hmm.
She's trying to hustle. She's selling perfumes and she's trying to make a few dollars here and there, and then she does other things to make some money.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like a little community that they all help each other out. Like they get meals from the diner until they don't, until
Hmm.
the one mom cuts them off. But it is like a little community that they all help each other in little ways, and they know where the next lunch is coming from because they get it from the diner for in the back door, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I was so inspired by this movie um, because there's so many stories to be told in that place. Um, I can't remember what it was called. Was it called Magic Kingdom?
Something, yeah, something like it was some like, yeah, something Disney related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, which I also found out that the Florida project was the tentative title for Disney World.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like yeah, that's what it was being called when they were working on it, or, had the idea for it or whatever, was the Florida project. But I was so inspired by it. And I thought of, man, there's so many stories that could be told. Each one of those rooms has a story to tell, and there's so many kids and stuff. And I loved Willem Dafoe's character so much that I started writing a book, not about that, but kind of using some ideas, the idea of a motel and
Hmm.
the idea of having someone who runs it, who is a nice guy, and then having these just kind of bizarre tenants, popping in and out and having their own stories and stuff. And um, I'm a big Rockford's fan file.
Hmm.
So I mashed up like Florida Project and Rockford Files,
Hmm.
and that's what I wrote the
Oh,
Neon Owl.
okay. All
And I
right.
wanted to make a whole series. I mean, this is book one, when the shit hits the van. But and I started the second one, but I was hoping to have had 3 or 4 by now out, and other projects took place. But that is where my inspiration for the Neon Owl, it came from Florida Project.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Wow.
I mean, it's nothing like, I mean, you don't expect to, if you like Florida Project, don't expect to read this and think that's what you're getting. It's nothing like that at all.
Hmm.
But just the idea of, just a motel, different people moving in and out, get to kind of follow their lives and or whatever. And yeah, and then a nice guy kind of running it.
Oh, well, yeah. It's strange where those little sparks of inspiration come from, just to kind of get an
Mhm.
idea going, even if it's not the same. It's just little, gets the idea train rolling a little bit.
Yeah. And also, I guess I should mention, I may have made the book sound like that's all it is. It's actually he's a amateur sleuth.
Hmm.
So this is a murder mystery as
Oh,
well.
okay.
So it's, the books are all like private eye type stuff. It's like his side hustle. And then he's got this motel that he was inherited, to him by his aunt who passed away. And so it just kind of fell into his lap, and he's got to run this thing. But yeah, it all came from Florida Project.
Oh, nice. Um, I think part of what makes this movie, I think it puts a different spin on it because it is right next to Disney World and next to all the money that's being spent there and all the tourists and all the glitz and glamour and the rides and Disney, and it's like this big shadow that's cast on all of them. And right next door is all these people who are struggling just to find their next meal or they don't know where they're going to sleep tonight, kind of
Mhm.
thing. I thought that had that contrast made it, I don't know, it almost felt like that Disney World was like an oppressive force, almost like it felt like I don't know, something that was that contrast between the two. I think it made it more powerful knowing what's happening right down the street.
Yeah, like a dream that a dream that taunts them that they can't ever achieve,
Right.
or yeah, that's you're right, and that's kind of cool. I like that setting, and it's because it's such an oddball, place. I mean, some of those shops, such a touristy, you know, like the giant
Mm.
orange and that big wizard and
Yeah.
the big ice cream cone, and everything is just like exaggerated,
Mm. Yeah, all the tourist, there's so many tourist spots right there. It's trying to get people's attention, and
Yeah,
yeah, I thought that was if it was happening like somewhere in Oklahoma or something, it would still be a great movie, but it just made it different. It just give it a different feel, knowing that it's right there out of reach for them, even just to
yeah,
go visit. They can't.
right, yeah, this is true. It does make it a lot cooler.
Hmm. And I guess all the tourists do make an easy. Well, some of the tourists make an easy mark for Haley because she takes advantage of that.
For sure. Yeah, even the kids, when
Yeah.
they're like tip, give us tips for carrying in your luggage.
Yeah.
Putting these poor people on the spot.
And when the tourists pull up to they think they're in the wrong place. Like it just seems, yeah, it's just like a whole different world than what you're expecting to walk into.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure as soon as they drove up, it was pretty obvious. Like, what is it, this giant purple beast? This does not look romantic at all.
No, not at all. And it looks more like a motel than it does or like an apartment complex than it does a overnight stay.
Yeah. But you could just tell, I mean, there's so many people that were legitimately just like living there,
Mhm.
you know. I mean, Defoe was walking by and knew their names and stuff, you know, and it's like that old lady's sunbathing. It's like, I told you, you know, not to do this anymore.
And he's trying to cover her up, and she's like, "You're touching me," and he's just, like, trying to cover her up.
Yep.
So many personalities there in that little space that they all have this kind of they all know each other, um, and I just you did get that sense of community, when they're not burning
Yeah.
down the house, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, you could, you know, I don't know if you've seen, I think it's called White Lotus,
Mm,
um, or any other series that's like well, I guess American Horror Story would be kind of an example of this, where you have a series. Well, probably not a good example because that's everything is different about it. But if you have a series where your cast of characters, at least most of them, are different from season to season, and like if they have like in White Lotus, I've only seen the first season, but it's about a resort like in Hawaii, and it's, you know, and then the first season covers these, you know, different groups of people that are staying there, and then they take off, and I'm assuming the second season is probably more of the same resort, and then you watch 8 or 10 episodes of all the drama that all these other people are going through. You could easily pull something off with the Florida project like that, and have this be like the first one. I don't know how you top it, you know,
yeah,
really, but
yeah. It would be tough to top, and I think the weather too, it's very bright and sunny and warm, and it again, it's like a contrast to what because you would expect this to be almost like in a cold weather, um, you with all the struggle that's happening, it's the sun and the like in the background, the sun and the warm weather. It seemed a stark contrast to what the material was.
yeah, yeah. There's a when I mentioned that I think I mentioned it, that I'm a big fan of like, maybe I didn't say it, but dialogue driven films, character
Mm.
driven films, and books. And there's another one that I saw earlier this year. I think it was this year, called um, I think it's called 3,000 Junkies, or 300 Junkies, or, and it's
Hmm.
just these three guys. They're like middle aged, and they're all addicted to like crack or something. I can't remember. And the whole movie is just them driving around trying to score. It's not a comedy. Well, I mean, I guess it is a comedy, but in the indie sense, not like, you know, so it's dry, not like a goofy, you know, like Zach Galifianakis type of thing or something like that. Um, but I don't know why I brought that up. I guess because um, you just this kind of like intimate setting where, even though they're cruising around, it's just these three dudes that are just like, we have to find drugs. You know, I'm not doing good right now. I got to find something. So they're
Hmm.
trying to score, and tons of dialogue, different personalities. Um, yeah, I think it takes a special kind of writer to do something like that and have it be entertaining.
Yeah. What about the dialogue stood out to you in the Florida Project?
Just, I mean, just the authenticity of it.
Mm.
Every time the kids spoke, none of it felt, you know, really scripted. They said some really wild stuff, uh, you know, random things. And I could just tell, I was just like, there's no way. I mean, some of it, yeah, they may have been given instruction, but I feel like anytime they were given, like, you have to say this thing exactly, I think that would kill their acting because they're so young, you
Mhm.
know? Um, but yeah, I just think mainly that. I mean, Willem Dafoe is great, but he's always great. And you know, the scenes where people were like legitimately like acting were cool, but I was just more impressed with whatever. It just felt like there's like, I'm a big fan of movies and shows that do like non-traditional ways of filmmaking. The Blair Witch Project would be a good example. You know, dropping off your cast out in the woods and leaving them alone, and you know, like leaving out care packages that are filled with batteries, and you're, you know, you start to cut their food off a little bit and stuff so that they, you know, get irritated. It's like, man, that's just genius. And then like what's another, Kirby Enthusiasm? I don't know if you ever watched that
Oh, I
show.
love it. Yeah.
That is a lot of improv. I mean, they have like a, you know, things that they have to touch on, but for the most part, they just, you know, Larry David is just like, you know, you got to say this at some point. You know, this is what the episode is about, and so otherwise, just yell at me and
Yeah.
I'll yell back or whatever. But I love that, and it makes for really authentic stuff. It makes for good. I think that more movies should do that, and you can always tell when they are practicing something like that. I've seen some other movies where it's like, there's a movie, a found footage movie called I think it's called the McPherson Tapes. It's a like a UFO type thing. The ending is really bad. The effects are horrible, and there's some aliens in it that look like it's just their costumes rented somewhere. You can tell, but the dialogue in this thing is, you can just tell that nobody wrote this. These are real conversations that people are having, and I like that.
I wonder if it's hard for some actors to improv like that on the fly. I wonder if it's a struggle for some, that they're so used to reading a line that for them to improv, maybe that some of them struggle with it. Maybe it has to be a certain type of actor.
Probably, particularly someone who is not trained to be an actor, I would assume would be easier.
Yeah.
If you're trained, like I remember playing. I've been playing guitar since I was 16. I remember playing Guitar Hero, and it's hard for a guitarist to play Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Because that's not how you play guitar, you know. And it's even hard to play. What is the other guitar game where you literally do play a guitar? I can't remember what the game is called.
I forget the name of it, but yeah, I know what you're talking
That's
about.
hard too, you know. And I might even know how to play the guitar or the song that they're trying to show me, but I can't. It's hard. And then, so I would assume that, yeah, the actors who are trained and you know, they go to their classes, their acting classes and stuff, and then all of a sudden they're told to improv, which I'm sure they cover like improv stuff in some things, but somebody who is just like gone by the book, you know, and just like, you know, watching Cary Grant films and Robert De Niro films and stuff, and they're like, okay, now action. They might just be like, you know, I need my motivation.
Yeah.
You got to tell me what to say.
Where's my line?
Yeah.
I think this one is really helped because other than Dafoe, we don't know these other people. Like, so they feel authentic because we don't relate to them or we don't see another character when we look at them. It's just a random person we've never seen before. So it felt, I think that gave it more of an authentic feel, knowing that we didn't know them before.
Have you read any of the IMDb trivia on this movie?
I haven't.
Okay. Every time I watch a movie, I go right there and I read that stuff interests me. But they were considering casting either Britney Spears or Miley Cyrus as Haley, and decided to go with somebody who nobody knew to you know, so that it felt more real. And thank God they did, because that would have been a whole different movie.
Oh, that would have ruined. I mean, the kids steal the show. I think the kids are the standout. I think that's the one thing everyone remembers. Yeah. But Haley especially is, I think, number 2 on that list of what you come away with and kind of what sticks with you. So that would have not been a good decision.
No, it really wouldn't have. No, because then you would just, there would have been acting. Haley didn't really ever feel like she was acting. She just, I would love to have been on the set and known exactly how the director, you know, to do that. I would love to be on the set of certain directors. David Lynch is one. When you watch Twin Peaks or a lot of his movies, their acting is so purposely awkward and almost bad and comical. It's like, what do you say to these people to get them to act so strange, you know? Or do they just watch your movies and go, "Oh, this is David Lynch. Okay, I've got to act like I'm a bad actor." I don't know.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't even know what to call that. The characters in like Twin Peaks, especially. I guess it's just like everybody's so quirky and strange the way they act. I would love to hear Lynch's instructions to everybody in his movies and stuff.
You know, I would imagine that I think the crew, it felt like they had a tight bond between the crew, because especially Haley and Mooney, I think
Yeah.
the scenes with them just playing in the rain, or just
Yes.
they felt you it felt like they had a lot of chemistry. It felt like they were close personally outside of the film. It kind of, you can feel that bond with them. It felt very natural.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, and I was wondering if maybe they had forced them to hang out a lot together. You know, maybe made them go to Disney World for the day, and made them go shopping. Um, you know, just to get to know each other and hang out and have fun and be comfortable with each other, so that when they were kidding around and tickling and stuff like that, that it didn't feel awkward for either of them. I do know when they finally did film in Disney World, that was like some guerrilla filming. He used an iPhone and was not given permission to do that last scene.
Oh wow, I wondered about that. Yeah.
Yeah, just ran in there and filmed it real quick.
I noticed that they avoided a lot of the they talk about it, but you don't see a whole lot, even like the mouse. I think there's one shot of the mouse, like there's like a sign with like the mouse, the silhouette of the mouse, the ears, but
Oh,
you
the
don't see a
metal
whole
thing.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
So
did
I
they
was,
even
yeah.
say Disney?
I don't think so. I think it's just implied.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's like a, I don't know if they had to pay royalties or something for that, or how that works.
Maybe, or maybe it just was an artistic decision, like in the zombie movies when they won't use the word zombie, you know? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, could be. There's some great shots too, like the sunsets, and some, there's some like angles and shots that they had with the sun behind them and
Mhm.
walking on the street. And yeah, I don't know, I was really impressed.
Yeah, lots of wide angles and really, really cool shots of like Willem Dafoe like smoking a cigarette on the balcony, or um, Mooney Mooney coming down toward the beginning, coming down and then climbing through that window, and yeah, lots of really, the cinematography was great.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was what other standouts? Ashley, the waitress, was another one that stood out.
Hmm.
I'm not, I don't know if she's been in anything else, but she seemed very comfortable.
Yeah.
No one really, looks like she's done a couple of shorts before, but, or a music video, but yeah, I mean, it seemed very natural.
Yeah. Nobody stood out to me as being like a bad actor, really.
Hmm. Yeah.
Everybody was great.
So the end got to you, huh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Even though I'd seen it before, I'd forgotten about it. And then chick started crying, and I was like, oh my gosh. I had to wipe my eyes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big, it doesn't take much for
Yeah.
me to, um, especially movies like this. Yeah, just, it was, I mean, I felt for both of them. Haley was a good person. You could just tell that she had a hard, she probably didn't have a very good upbringing herself.
Mhm.
I don't know why she wasn't working. She didn't seem like she was like on hard drugs or anything. She liked to smoke weed, but I mean, she had some expensive tattoos, so she was getting money from somewhere at one point.
I think she makes a comment towards the beginning about that they didn't let her get on stage or they fired her because of something. So I got the impression that she was
That's
dancing.
right. She was a she was a dancer. And then she had gotten fired.
Hmm. Why she didn't have another club to or another place to go. I don't know. I would imagine there's plenty of them to go around,
Yeah,
but
that
yeah.
strip looked like it was just packed full, all the signs, and there was a couple shots where I was looking at the signs, and dude, it just looks like pollution to me. Just like I don't know. It's like when you play a video game, a game on your phone or on your iPad or something, and you're hit with all these ads, and there's one stuck on the screen, and then they pop up every couple minutes or something, or just like anything. YouTube, watch a YouTube video. I've clicked on stuff that's only 30 seconds long, and I gotta watch a video first, an ad, and there's ads all over the place. And seeing that like in front of your eyes when there would otherwise be maybe a cool scenery, even if it's just different buildings along the strip with different architecture.
Mhm.
But some of those shots just had like just sign after sign and billboards and stuff, just letters, words everywhere, trying to sell you something. And it just was like it felt manipulative. Just this year I'm so tired of ads, and they feel how manipulative they feel and how insulting they are with the whole like you know uh they try to convince. Like, I started playing, I got a iPad recently, and I put a couple games on it, and there'll be something on here, and it'll be like only 1% of people can get the, and it's like, are you kidding me right now? You think I'm gonna? And it's insulting, that they say this stuff because they think people are gonna go, oh yeah, I'll show you, and then they'll download the
Yeah.
thing. And so I see a lot of that kind of stuff. And so in the movie, when I saw that stuff, it just rubbed me the wrong way, and I was just like, man, that was really, it's yeah, it feels manipulative, and I didn't like those shots, but it just made for made like they were trapped, and like they were like these kids when they were running through all of that, and they were seeing all this stuff. It made them feel look small, even though they
Mhm.
were, but just surrounded by stuff pushing them this way and that way.
Yeah, especially around like these tourist areas. I think most of them are in the like the older parts of town. Now that before they're probably in the outskirts, but now they're like in the older parts. So you go to these really popular touristy sections, and it's like the glitz and glamour and lights,
Mhm.
and it seems very magical. And then you go half a mile down the street, and it's run down, and there's you know those kind of ads and signs, and it feels
Yeah.
very like kind of it's forgotten about. Like we don't have to worry about that because it's down the street. So even
Mhm.
like in Vegas, like there's a strip, and then right on the outskirts, it gets a little seedy. So
Yeah.
all these kind of areas like Disney World and Disneyland, and it's glitz and glamour, and then you go half a mile, and it's like you know other stuff. So
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Hmm.
Those kind of like you mentioned, the like the big ice cream cone, or the like the big giant things trying to get your attention because they know that you're there to go to this touristy area, so they're trying to get your attention to visit their whatever it is. So it's trying to these big ads to try and get your attention to pull over and
Yeah, it's
buy
like
something.
there's they they leave no question as to, it's like, where can I get some orange juice? It's like, oh, that freaking giant orange over there. Where can I buy some Magic the Gathering cards? Well, maybe that like 20-foot tall wizard over there. I don't even know what kind of store that was. I think it was actually a gift shop, but
Yeah.
it would have made for probably a better comic book store. And you got all those geeks in there playing Magic.
Yeah. 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 I think the kids were the standouts in this one for me, but Haley too really stuck with me, and just the area, and even that creep that comes wandering in, and kind of yeah, that was another one.
Yeah. Yeah, dude was not having that, Bobby. Mm-mm.
Mhm.
Yep, he was not having that.
And he is like the protector. He is like someone who kind of watches over everyone, and they fight and they argue, but he's still there looking over everyone. And I like when the owner came in, or his boss came in, his whole attitude changed, and you know, you have to remove the bikes because they're in the walkway and things like that. But I don't know if Defoe is aging. He looks like he must be a vampire because he looks the same for like the last 10 years.
Well, he's always had like his whole life. He's had those like really deep like laugh lines, you know, around his mouth. So, and he's looked like that since he was young. So I don't know.
Yeah, lots of good stuff. Yeah.
There's not a whole lot to say about it because there's not like a twist or nothing controversial or, you know.
Just the end when the walls are closing in on Haley. I think that's one of the most touching moments when you know that that Mooney will probably be taken away from her.
Yeah.
You know, that's when it kind of all closes in.
Yeah, she needs to get her crap together so she can, because she was a good mom, but she was a horrible mom too.
Yeah.
You know, she let her kids see all kinds of stuff, and the way she talked. I mean, her kid was a brat, but she was also kind of a sweetheart. You know?
Yeah. That's what she knew. I mean, it was she knew.
Yeah.
And Jane is here. I liked Bobby. Interesting character. Yeah.
Yes. Defoe played one of my favorite characters that happens to be named Bobby, and that happens to be a David Lynch film. I just thought of that. He plays
which film?
Wild at Heart. He plays a character named Bobby Peru, who's a real creep, man. Like really unnerving. But it's so great, that character. His name was Bobby, and I just wondered if the writer or director, you know, did that on purpose, or maybe even Defoe was like, I don't know, let's give a nod to but the two characters are so one's kind of perverted, and then this Bobby is just so couldn't be any more stand up than that guy.
Yeah,
he's couldn't have a better guy working. Like if I owned motel, that's the guy I would want running it.
Yeah. I did like the other motel they tried to get into. They tried to get Haley into, and she they didn't want her there, so they asked her to leave, and she comes back and puts it on the window.
Oh gosh, man. I had forgotten about that part too, but I remember when I first saw it and I saw her handing her, I was like, oh, you're not doing what yeah, okay. You did do. I mean, I thought she was grabbing a different product, but same thing.
Yeah. I thought she was gonna pee on the
yeah.
But that was even worse. Yeah.
Way worse.
But I also like the continental breakfast. That's a good idea. Kind of like sneak in and get a breakfast.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I wonder, I mean, how often could they do that? Get away with doing that? It didn't seem like they did that often.
No,
it seemed like that was the first time.
Yeah. Make the rounds, maybe.
I remember I when I was a kid, I watched this documentary. I think it was called Streetwise, and it was about kids living on the streets, and they used to order pizza and then not go pick it up, and they would order whatever they wanted on it. And so when the pizza place would close, they'd just get it out of the dumpster.
Oh wow.
And so so when I was about, I don't know, my late teens, I was homeless for a while, kind of by decision. I just left home and at 16 and couch hopped a lot, and it took a while to get, my crap together and get a job and stuff like that. But there were various times where I didn't have a place to stay, or there was even one time I did have my own place, but for some reason, I didn't have food, so I ate out of this pizza dumpster all the time, and I got sick of the same like pepperoni pizza. I got sick of pizza, period. It's like my favorite food, but it's possible to get tired of it, man. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
when that's all you're eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for weeks. But I remembered that movie and I was like, I'm going to call and order exactly what I want on this pizza. And I can't remember if I ended up getting it. I probably did, but they ended up putting a year or two later, they ended up putting locks on the dumpster, which is messed
Wow.
up because that thing is full of food for people. If they need, I mean, if you're eating out of a dumpster, it's because you need to,
Yeah.
not because you're like becoming a millionaire by selling secondhand pizza or something.
I'm surprised they wouldn't give it to the employees and just say, here's an extra pizza, take it with you, kind of.
A lot of places don't do that. I worked at fast food before years ago, and I remember, like people would, order something and they're like, I said no cheese, and then you have to like set that, and if it doesn't go within 15 minutes, then you have to take it off from there, and then like as a specialty thing, like if it's if someone says special, and then we get it wrong or something like that, and it's not like a normal thing, then you have to wait to see. You had like 10 minutes or something like that. But even after that, if it was still good and someone was leaving, it had to go in the garbage. Couldn't take it.
Oof.
It's screwed up. And in grocery stores too, man. They'll grocery stores throw out so much like day old bread and stuff. It's pathetic.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah, but tons of people could, if they would unlock their dumpsters. I don't know that that all of them lock them, but a lot of them do. Or they will. My son told me he was working at Goodwill last year, and when they would throw certain things out, they would pour vinegar and stuff. It was protocol. They would pour vinegar and stuff all over things that they decided they weren't going to take and put into Goodwill, that they were just going to get rid of, and they would make sure that nobody on the planet could have it.
It's weird. Why not just donate it to like a shelter or something?
Well, I mean, people dumpster dive all the time for that kind of stuff. I can't imagine they're really losing, business. I mean, if you are not willing to put this thing that somebody might want in your store, that means you're not carrying it, so they're not going to get it in your store anyway. So why not just let them have it? But I've heard of places like that too. Staples does that too. They'll tear something apart, break it so that it's perfectly fine, and then when they go to put it in the dumpster, they'll destroy it.
Ugh, what a waste.
Yeah.
Michael, hey Michael, yo fellas, Steve, really enjoy your channel. I've seen the Florida Project around 3 times now. The kids are fantastic, as well as the rest of the cast.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for coming by, Michael. Appreciate it.
And I'm always up for, like, if somebody knows of more kind of slice of life stuff like this that is this good, this well acted. Always looking for stuff like
that. What other ones come to your mind that you've seen that are good slice of life stories, movies?
Well, the one that I was mentioning, I can't remember what it's called. 1,000 Junkies, maybe that's what it's called. 1,000 Junkies or 1,000 Junkies. I can't remember. That one comes to mind.
Okay, yeah, it is 1,000 Junkies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I can't think of any more right now. Maybe Kids. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah.
It's not that I necessarily recommend Kids, but
yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. But yeah, there's that one. River's Edge is kind of like that, but it has more of a plot. River's Edge is like one of my probably top 3 movies of all time. Actually, I got the poster right there behind me. Yeah.
Oh, nice. From 1986?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of Keanu Reeves' first movies.
Oh, wow.
It's based on a true story about a guy who kills his girlfriend, who belongs to this group of friends, and then he tells his friends, "Hey, I killed my girlfriend. Do you want to see?" And so they all go out, and they look at her body and nobody says anything about it. Nobody goes to the police.
Hmm.
And then finally someone does. But they're a real there's some real characters in there. Crispin Glover is in there, who plays who's a little over the top, his character, but he's great. It's got Dennis Hopper in it too, who is probably my second favorite performance by him. My first being Blue Velvet, David Lynch's Blue Velvet.
Kind of reminds me of what you described about the kind of Bully. I don't know if you've seen Bully.
Oh yeah, dude,
Yeah,
that's hard to watch.
yeah, it's a hard one.
Yeah,
It's a hard one to watch.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. I recommend that one sometimes. There is actually A24 has another one that I didn't finish, and I can't remember why. It's one of those movies where I'm watching it, I have to do other stuff, and then the next thing I know, a year goes by, and it's like, oh, that's right, I was watching that movie. I think it's called Tangerine or something like that.
Is it the one where the woman goes to dinner, like a family dinner? Is that because I
No,
thought there
it's
was
like
one.
no. I'm trying to remember. It's okay, um,
Hmm.
but I think you're just following around these prostitutes who are like trans prostitutes. I think I can't remember,
Hmm.
and they're just going from place to place and talking and stuff. I remember not being as entertained as I was hoping, but I think it's called Tangerine, something like that.
If I can find it.
But it's an A24 movie.
If I can find that one too. Well, cool.
Do you have a favorite that you've seen so far that you can say what your favorite is yet?
I think from the A24 ones, I think it might be Ghost Story.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Nice. That's a good one, man.
That's a great one. I was surprised how much it, because there were times during I was like, kind of you get kind of lulled into this,
Mm-hmm.
but when it was over, it's like, wow, that was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really really impressed.
I there was a part in the movie where they're talking about the note and what she writes on the notes. And I was doing something at the time. I think I was I can't remember, but I didn't hear exactly what she said, and I kept thinking, dude, you need to rewind that. That's probably going to be really important. And I didn't really miss anything really important, but I did go back and rewind it to try to find that because I watched it with my wife. We went back, pardon me, listened to it. End up having to put the subtitles on because Casey Affleck mumbles horribly, worse than I do. And she, and then kind of by accident, we played the scene where they're woke up in the middle of the night by the sound,
Mhm.
and the sound was actually the scratching of to try to get the note out. And I got real sad, like, because we had just watched, and I was like, oh, that was sad. And then we went back, and then I heard that noise. I was like, oh man, that's dude scratching at the wall.
Yeah, it's
So
so good.
yeah.
Lots of little things that I keep going back. Kind of, yeah, lots of little things in that one that I've been thinking about since I haven't gotten it out of my mind since I
Mhm.
watched it.
Yeah, there's a movie I watched earlier this year that I hated so bad when I watched it, but it disturbed me so much and I couldn't get it out of my head for like 2 weeks, and I still think about it sometimes, and that's Skinamarink.
Oh yeah,
The Final Guys, every year we have like a top 10, and but they have to be top 10 from 2023.
Hmm.
Not just like new to you movies. They have to have been released this year. So we try to get in. And honestly, man, I mean, it might make it, and not because it's a good movie, but because I appreciate what they were trying to do, and it somehow moved me in a kind of disturbing way. And
Hmm.
so for doing that, I kind of like hats off. but it's not a good movie.
I know some people really love it. It just did not work for me at all.
Yeah.
I felt cheated. Like I just wasted an hour and 40 minutes of my
Oh,
life.
dude, I was so mad the whole time. I like hate watched it because after first 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, I thought we were just getting like a cool artsy intro, and we're still doing this. It's 10 minutes in, 20 minutes in. And after like half hour, I was like, okay, I see what the frick is happening here. And I was not happy.
Yeah.
I was like,
But
man, if I see
yeah.
one more ceiling or piece of molding or Lego, I'm gonna scream.
Yeah, towards the end, it's just like, well, there's 20 minutes left. Something's gonna happen, and nothing happens. But some people really love it. I mean, good for them. But I just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah. No, I don't recommend it. So do you have a least favorite A24 that you've seen through this?
In Fabric is my least favorite.
Okay, I haven't seen that one. I don't know anything about it, but
Yeah, I see what they were trying to do. And like you said about Skinamarink, I appreciate when they just go for it. Like, they
mhm.
just make something. But that's another one that just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
They were trying. I could tell that they were setting up some themes and they were trying to like convey an idea. But at the very end, it's almost like they were very subtle. And at the very end, it's like, okay, this is what we're doing in case you didn't get it. And it's like just like hit you in the head with a hammer with it. And it's like, okay,
Oh, they
well,
spell it out for you.
yeah. And they
Oh
kind of,
no.
and it's like, I don't
It's
really need
weird.
that.
A24 is usually much more intelligent than that.
Yeah, and there were just some things that I think they added in just to be like creepy and just like disturbing.
Mhm.
It didn't need it. It didn't serve the story. So yeah, I kind of felt like that wasn't too good. That was probably my least. I wouldn't have finished it had it not been for this
Your
challenge. I would have
dedication,
stopped.
yeah.
Yeah, I would have stopped.
Hmm.
But lots of good ones though. Michael, I think I need to rewatch Ghost Story if only for the pie eating scene again. Yeah.
Yeah, I read
I,
some
yeah.
trivia on that too.
I heard that she actually was eating that pie and she actually got sick, is what I've heard. I'm not sure if that's true.
I noticed that while she was eating it, there was a point where it became obvious to me anyway that I was like, oh, this chick is not enjoying this pie right now. You could just tell that she had had enough. And I was like, man, if they didn't get this in one take, which I guess they did,
Mm,
they have to wait another day to shoot,
that's a lot of food.
Yeah. You
Did
can't
you eat
just
like the
like
whole thing?
you can't just be like, okay, take two, go. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm full. What are you talking about?
Or fill it with like whipped cream or something. But yeah, it was a lot of pie.
And what if like Casey Affleck, who actually played the ghost, I guess, he was
Mm.
standing there watching. What if he just started laughing? It's like, dude, what the heck, man? I've been eating this pie, and now I got to do it again.
Yeah.
They'd have to CGI that out or something. If you saw him like kind of like chuckling or something, I'd
Just
make him CGI it.
just pause him. Just have him just like a statue in the corner of the sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one though. Lots of good ones. I'm kind of surprised. Went from lots of good to good, like really good. So
hmm
it's been pretty good. Not too bad.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might end up watching one tonight. Don't know what one,
Hmm.
but
Cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed Floater Project though. Really good stuff. I was
that's
impressed.
awesome.
Yeah. But cool. So awesome. Well, thank you, Chad, for coming and chat with me. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for ruining my wedding anniversary, Steve.
I'm here to help. Yeah. But for people wanting to find you or find your books, where can they find you?
All my books are on Amazon, or you can go to my website. I do covers there too. And all my links to my social media is there. My website is chadlutzke.com, spelled just like it is on the screen right there. And maybe in the show notes or whatever.
Yeah, I'll add it in.
Okay. Yeah, everything can be found there. Upcoming books, which I have one coming out in 10 days, and then another one in July.
Oh, you're busy.
Yeah, a couple more coming out at the beginning of next year that are done, but through Cemetery Dance and oh, Crystal Lake Publishing. Okay,
There you go. There you go. Nice.
I was in trouble.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. And cool. Everybody, be sure and check out Chad's website and his work. Thanks, everybody. Thanks again, Chad, for hanging out.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll see everybody very soon.